no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Where are my most beautiful queens in the house? Where are my most beautiful queens in the house?
Peace. Welcome into the Queendom. It's your girl Jamilah. Okay, today we have a very, very special guest. We have a film producer, a writer, director, an actor. He's an alchemist, but he's also the author of Guerrilla Film Grind. Brother Derrick Muhammad, welcome to the Queen's Address.
The Queen's Address. I'm so honored to be on your show. You have no idea. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
wow.
Just thank you for being here today. I'm so glad to see you. You look great, man.
I feel great.
You look
too.
hydrated.
I feel hydrated. Thank you for the water,
yes,
by
sir.
the way.
Well, you've been ripping and running.
Yeah.
You know, and so, I wanted to just kind of start off with your origin story, So you started off as a comedian. What was that journey like for you?
Well, let me back that up.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so first, I always wanted to do film coming out of Youngstown. When I got out of the service, before I even joined the Nation, I said I wanted to be a filmmaker. I didn't know how to go about doing it. So I remember being married. I had the kids. I was working in the bank, and I saw Masterpiece Bout It. And I was like, this movie, I can do that. You know what I mean? I can do that movie.
Right.
So I went to the library. I got a book, How to Write, Shoot, and Edit. I bought my camcorder from a friend of mine in the mosque. One of the old VHS, didn't have a battery pack. I wrote the script in an hour, got all my friends together from the bank, and I shot a movie in 2 weekends.
Wow.
And it was called Atonement. So at that time, I was going to public access channel in Columbus, Ohio, and I learned how to edit. So I edited the movie. I made 100 VHS tapes. I had a premiere at the library because it was free. I invited 50 people out, 35 showed up. And I even had the other paper in Columbus. It's defunct now, but they came out, gave me a good article, and I told myself, you know what? I'm a filmmaker. So I started out as a filmmaker. Now, I didn't do another movie until then, but I made $2,000 off a $6 movie because I ain't pay nobody.
Wow.
And this is back in 98. But I was ahead of my time, so I said, man, I can do this, but I do nothing else. So then when I started doing stand-up, I started in like 2009 after I broke up with a fiance of mine because I couldn't afford therapy. So I always wanted to go do stand-up, and I tried it. I was horrible. I failed early and often, but I had beginner's luck, and I used to do some opening for like acts that would come in at Comedy Stop, Andrew Ford Comedy Stop. He had reopened it. And I was just happy to just go up there. And I treated every show like it was the Apollo. And I was horrible. I mean, finding my way. And I remember the best and worst thing that happened to me. I got a guest spot at the Funny Bone on Thursday night where all the black people come in. Damon Williams was opening. I mean, he was the headliner. All the funny comedians just sold out. I get up there, and I hadn't been on stage in 2 weeks. That was a big mistake.
Okay.
Got up there, 30 seconds into my set. Boo! Boo! They booed me off stage, and it was so humiliating, but it was the best and worst thing happened. The best thing, it taught me this is not a joke. This is a serious craft.
Business. Yeah.
So you need to know what you're going to do. The worst thing is I'm humiliated. And I remember standing there because I used to ref basketball, and a girl walked by me, her and her husband. And I used to ref her son, and she's like, maybe you should just stick to reffing. And I was like, oh! But her husband was like, no, Derrick, no. If that's what you want to do it. And I figured it out, but I ain't get on stage for another 6 months, and I started slow. But a buddy of mine gave me the comedy Bible. I learned how to, and I went from amateur to, and before I left Columbus, I was probably, in my opinion, and others, I was the best stand-up comedian at that time because I learned how to do the white rooms and the black rooms. I was winning contests, and it prepared me to go to L.A., to venture into acting, and also being a filmmaker that I had already previously became the indie director, selling 2,000 copies out the trunk of my car.
Wow.
So that's the origin of it all.
That's the origin story. So what inspires you to be creative when you're making a film?
You know, I start with a story or a story I want to tell. I really make movies for me. Now, unless I'm hired to make a movie for someone. But I want to tell a story. And one of my goals is not just being a filmmaker, but being a responsible filmmaker. Because in our community, Black people, we don't really, like, people outside our community control our financing, our story, our narrative, our distribution. And that's the reason why I like the independent game right now, because now you can put it out on your iPhone. You can put it on YouTube. Look at Country Wayne. He's doing millions of dollars.
Social media. And go viral. Yes.
Where I'm at right now is I want to tell stories that change the image of Black people. Because right now our image in it's particularly the Black man has they've been feminizing the Black man.
Come on now.
I mean, you could look
Let's
on
talk
a
about
commercial right now where the brother can't even drive a car. He's sitting in the passenger seat. You can't even drive a car, brother.
Come on now.
He got a Asian woman or a white man. He got and then the sisters always got a white guy or Asian or Indian guy. So to me, it's a trend that they're setting in the industry to feminize the Black man, masculinize the Black woman, and women in particularly, and also total annihilation of the nuclear family, because they don't really have a Black nuclear family on television right now. So my goal is to reverse engineering, and I ain't got to, put it on a major network and put it on my own network or service to our own community.
You know what? You just said some stuff, brother. Because I know you probably noticed Cat Williams recently went viral.
Yes.
With Shannon Williams.
Right.
And he's a comedian as well.
Right.
Do you feel that Cat was exposing the industry, or do you feel like comedians have their kind of finger on a different type of pulse when it comes to society and the way that they see things?
I remember being a stand-up comedian, a comic told me, he passed away, I think Marcus Combs, he said, comedy is the most freest. A stand-up comedian is the most freest person in the world because they can say what's on their mind.
Wow.
Actually can say what they on their mind. If you look at Jon Stewart's show, Bill Maher's show, anybody who had a Jay Leno, you can say whatever's on your mind and not be judged for it, or even canceled. Even with Chappelle right now, with him making his statements and going against people who wanted to, don't talk about the LGBT community, or don't talk about that. Look, they all don't say that about hip hop, where every rapper on wax right now is saying, bitch, let's kill this bitch, let's rape this bitch, let's smack some bitches, let's kill some niggas, let's shoot some niggas, and they go platinum?
Right.
Why is
call that anti-Black?
They don't know what say that. But if you said, let's kill some Jewish people, let's kill some white folks, now you cancel. Kanye. You feel me? So let's not get into the thing about it's only for making it a socially acceptable for one community, not for the other. We have to do our art responsibly. So getting back to Cat Williams, with him doing that, it really uncovered or answered a lot of questions that was actually lingering. And now people are just, having to come out, and it's going to just get that way. It's a cleansing that needs to take place. It's infected.
It has to happen this way.
It's infected. It's a boil. It's busting. It needs to come out and be clean. It's seeping.
It's seeping, brother.
It's seeping. It's just running.
This is coming on down.
Yeah. And it's infected with bile and filth and degeneracy.
A Band-Aid just won't do.
No, you got to cut it out. Might need to have to amputate it. But that's it.
But it's happening.
And it is.
Whether we want it to or not.
Right. And you just hear out what people got to say. Now, some people clout chase,
Okay.
And that's a bunch of that. But in my opinion, that how I look at it, the truth, people will know the truth.
Yeah.
And they weigh on it.
The truth sounds like the truth.
The truth sounds like the truth.
Even if you don't want it, it's going to sound like the truth.
It's going to sound like the truth. And there's so many subcultures. Like, we're not a monolithic people.
That's right.
So I went to AFM a couple years ago, American Film Market, and I was in this room. Erica Alexander was up for an Oscar, was there. Max from a Different World. So she was doing this panel NAACP had, and they had a report called the Harvard Report. And the report talked about how Hollywood left let me take that back. That's too cheap. $10 billion on the table by not catering to the Black community.
Wow.
So when I heard that, I didn't like, oh, shame on you, Hollywood, because they in the business of getting paid.
Yeah, yeah.
What I heard was, there's gold in those heels.
Mm-hmm.
This is I mean, I got to get me an axe, some overalls,
And go
a
to
pen,
work.
and be a 49er
And
and
go to
mine.
work.
Now I don't need all 10 billion. I'll
Right.
take a cool 100M.
Right, and make it work.
And make it work. But man, come on, so we got to service the underserved market, and it's wide open right now.
Yeah, definitely. And so when we're talking about films, can you describe your creative process and how it has evolved over time, starting from Atonement to now?
Man, Atonement was really about a guy. I went to the Million Man March in 95.
Yes, sir.
So it was about a guy. I said he got out of jail after seeing the Million Man March. He was a dope dealer. He got out on some technicality, and he wanted to atone to all the people he had damaged, from hurting the women, the baby mama, to selling the dope. And he had to also go with the allies who was envious of him. So he had to deal with all that. So it was all about an evolution. With Gale on the Storm, which I did with Karen White, my business partner, it was really taking her story loosely based on her and telling a story about a woman who left the industry, who was jaded, and her meeting a guy who'd been blackballed from the industry, and they using their powers to help each other out. So it's not even a love story. It's a human story. And so now with my other film I'm in production with Peg for Murder, is really dealing with a black version of Saul, and it's about dealing with how the army, well, I don't want to get too much of it, but how people can get violated and justice don't be served. And then someone takes upon themselves who've been violated to render justice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's deep.
Yo, it's deep. It's heavy. It's heavy, and it's gonna be. It's it's a small budget movie, but we got big hopes for a cult classic. That's my opinion. I'm directing that.
Yes, sir. We're looking forward definitely to that. And so you mentioned Gale in the Storm. What was it like working with the icon Karen White, because she's the superwoman? You know what I mean? And I had the privilege of seeing her in Cincinnati.
Right.
And she's this incredible big spirit. What was it like working with her?
You know, she's probably the hardest working person I ever ran across. Like, she keep you on your game. But you got to think, like, she started out when she first came into the game. She wrote a song, her and Robert Bookins, for Stephanie Mills. Took the money from the song, put in a demo. She didn't buy a car. She didn't go to the mall. She didn't get a bag. She put it into a demo. The demo got heard by Jeff Lorber's people. They signed her because, with the Facts of Love. The Facts of Love did top 10. They ended up signing her to a Warner Brothers deal. She didn't have a production deal some of these people have, where they got signed to so many different people and not the main studio. She had a proper deal. Her manager, her A&R person was Benny Medina, Fresh Prince. Her manager was Larry Arnold, who negotiated Michael Jackson's Thriller album, who got him 50% of Sony.
Oh, wow.
Still getting paid from it.
Right. Major.
Her tour management company was Al Heyman's, the Budweiser, who she went on tour with Bobby Brown, who's the hottest thing on that planet. Bobby Brown, Levert, Karen White, based on the connections she had. Babyface.
Yes.
It would be no.
Killing
she laid
the
the
game.
foundation for Toni Braxton. She laid the foundation for Beyonce. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Yeah, no, call it what
She
it
laid
is.
it down foundation because at that time it was a bunch of red bones. No offense to the red bones.
None
We love
taken.
red bones, right?
None taken.
But at that time, she probably was the brownest girl.
And then she wore natural hair,
And she
too,
wore hair, and
which
she
was
sang.
beyond, what they were doing at the time.
She sang, she danced, she wrote her music, and she had a distinctive voice. So she's the first female artist to hit 3 number 1 singles on her debut album, and the Guinness Book of World Records. So I'm honored. Even seeing her when she first came, I was like, man, she's a star. And now I get a chance to work with her. Now I get a chance to even manage her because I'm her manager now. And I'm like, I didn't expect that, but I kind of like fell into it, and we've been making the best out of the situation. So now she's really working, she really kicking ass, and she got a lot going on right now, and it's just gonna get better.
Well,
she preserved herself.
That's dope. Does she plan on doing any more acting? We already know she's an incredible songstress.
Yeah.
But she has some more roles coming up, or
actually,
reading scripts?
She just did a film with Man Robinson this last year called Georgia Peach. She had a role in that with Jasmine Burke.
Oh, cool.
And she's gonna be in Peg for Murder, and we also in talks about doing a biopic.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is the time you saw how good Compton did. Straight Outta Compton.
Yes.
The New Edition story.
Yes. This one probably would be like on television, like New Edition, like BET or Lifetime.
I would say a
like
miniseries.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it be, but we're in the talks about that.
Oh, okay, okay. I know you probably can't talk about that too much.
Yeah, but they approached us, so it's nothing that I'm creating. We talked about it, us doing it, but it's always best when somebody got some bread.
Listen, money talks.
Yeah,
money talks. What did Nino Brown say? Money talks.
Money talks.
BS runs the what?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So what have you ever had an experience where you had like a challenge while on the set making a film? Like, what was your biggest challenge? Do you have like a funny story about one of the biggest challenges happening on set?
The first one was when I was doing Atonement, and I'm shooting in my buddy's house. But I didn't have a sitter that day, and all my kids was little. It was 4 of them.
Shout out to the kids.
Y'all be quiet. Daddy's making a movie.
Uh-huh.
Quiet on the set. And action. And they were running around all in. I was like, that day was a waste. So that was a challenge. But it was so humorous at that time. So we came back the next day when I got a sitter and reshot. But I think the second one, as a producer as well as a director, you always going to anticipate some issues. And I remember not having a location come through while we're in the middle of Gale in the Storm. We shot Gale in the Storm in 7 days. And we had all the locations prior before me putting the pen to paper. So I knew I had a restaurant. I knew I had a bar, coffee spot, right? So we rented an Airbnb. And we stayed in the Airbnb. We had our crew stay in the Airbnb, and then we would fly actors in from LA for 1 day, shoot them, and send them back because I couldn't afford 2 days. But there was a case where the one restaurant didn't come through. And I was like, shit. But I never panicked. So what I did was, we got an outside patio. We set up the high top. We had a little canopy. We put a little one of the production people in the back in the corner like they was having dinner on the thing. We set the camera and we used the outside patio as a restaurant.
Oh man.
And then I had one dude, it was supposed to be in the hotel room. I just set him up in the corner, framed the camera, and it was right in the corner of the living room of the house, and you thought it was his hotel room.
Oh wow.
So we just made it work. And that's the beautiful part about if you're creative enough, as long as you got a camera, you can make it work because the camera tells a story. The actors explain what they're saying. You just got to be creative enough to find out how to make it work.
You got to have the mind for it.
You got to have mind for the creativity. And,
Definitely.
hang around creative people. And it'll come. That's for me.
And it'll just kind of come on naturally.
Right.
And so I had a question for you. Like, coming up, you kind of said from Youngstown, right?
Right.
So coming up, what would you say to a young man coming up from a small town that says, okay, I want to be like Brother Derrick. I want to do films. I want to be successful. What would you tell him, or how would you encourage him to follow his dreams?
I would tell him right now, like, first of all, if you want to be an actor, you ask yourself, do you want to be an actor or you want to be a movie star? It's two different things.
Okay.
Movie star, you're going to be created and made, and there's no guarantees, and you may have to give up something that you might not want to. An actor, you can start right now.
There's a difference.
There's a difference because the actor requires training and the skill set. People think it's easy, and it's not.
You got to take after take after
take after take, knowing who you are, conveying. Then the competition is vast, So you got to get trained. And one thing for me, I had a distinct talent. I knew it just was bottled up in me in Youngstown. I played ball. I wasn't cool trying to be an actor. I just kept that to myself. So when I couldn't contain it no more, I started doing stand-up. And then when I moved to LA, I started taking acting training, like classes. I trained under Ivana Chubbuck, who trained with Brad Pitt and George Clooney and Halle Berry and Beyonce. She's premier training. It's under that Stanislavski method acting type. But I'll tell a person coming up out of any small town, know where you are And with modern technology, you could take acting classes online, you can study, and you can train and get some people who have the same mindset that you are and start your own thing and shoot your own stuff. You know, the camera, the iPhone give you 4K resolution. You can make it happen and figure it out, you know, because nobody coming to save you.
And so to me, you know, to somebody, to me, that sounds like, don't ask for a seat at the table. Build your own table.
Build your own table. Build your own table, you know, and because if you wait, I mean, some people get it off of looks, you know. I might not got pat because I wasn't tall enough or more handsome or whatever, you know, or they wanted a woman, you know. But why I'm not asking, I'm just gonna create my own role. So every time I direct a movie, I'm giving myself a role I ain't got to audition for.
You said, okay.
Yeah.
The Uno reverse.
It might not be a big role, but I'm reverse Uno. I'm gonna take something. I'm saying something in front of that camera.
That's right. No, that's right. Oh man, no, that's cool. So what do you got? What do you have coming up next? What's next for Brother Derrick?
Man, so I'm shooting Peg for Murder. I got a 3-picture deal with Man Robinson Studios in Atlanta, and my first film is called Peg for Murder. 5 soldiers and a stranger wake up in an abandoned warehouse and they got to play a game of suicide or homicide based on some past things that they've done. And it's a fight for survival. So we're directing that. I'm excited about that. I think I got a nice unknown cast and we can do things, do some big things. Then I'm in a consideration of getting some funding for my next feature behind that, The Sheriff, which is about a black sheriff in a small Georgia town who used to be an FBI profiler dealing with a human trafficking ring. So we got several projects in development, and I got people who want to line with me to help them produce some of their projects as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
you got a lot on your table.
And we
it's your
appreciate
table.
it. It's my table.
But it's your table.
It's my table.
It's your table, so you call the shots.
What? And I'm appreciating every minute of it because it was times where I dreamed about doing what I'm doing, and now it's so surreal to be actually in the process of doing it. You know, it's just a surreal moment. So I'm appreciative to the cool shade of the toothpick and the hot burning sun.
You better come on now. I love you so much, Brother Derrick. Oh my goodness, where can the fans and the followers, you know, follow you on social media?
Oh man, okay, I'm on Instagram at the THEEE Derrick DERRICK. Muhammad, MUHAMMAD, the Derrick Muhammad on Instagram, and Derrick M. Muhammad on Facebook.
On Facebook, cool. Right. Brother Derrick, thank you.
That's a pleasure.
So much. You already know how much I love you.
Yeah, we
thank
love
you
you
for being
back.
here today.
Yes.
And I'm so glad. We'll have to do a part 2 once all this stuff is released.
Yeah.
So that we can talk about it. And you guys make sure you get the book, Guerrilla Film Grind. Okay, we got to support black authors. We got to support black filmmakers. We got to support black creators. Okay, thank you for watching. Also, Gale in the Storm is available to buy on Amazon. So go cop that. All right, do the right thing. All right, thank you for watching. Peace King, Peace Queen.
Queen's in the house.
We have a very special guest in the house tonight. The lovely Miss Gale Storm.
Meet Gale Storm. Once the former lead singer of the Grammy-nominated band Eclipse. They were on top of the world, so she thought.
People love Eclipse because of our sound.
But still, we need to change with the times.
You a snake.
I'm a survivor. The secret to change is not worrying about your past. Focus on your future.
So what's next for the great Hannibal Shabazz?
Man, I'm putting together a super group. We bring back soul.
It's been a while since I've been on stage, just hanging in with me.
You just need to fall back in love with singing again. This game is like a Venus flytrap. It closes on your ass real fast.
You quit right at the height of your career. Why come back now?
I found out I got a whole lot more music left in me.
I just want to know if you can help me.
All right, what you need me to do?
Take over the world.
What kind of Hannibal are you? You got your good Hannibal, and then you got your Hannibal Lecter.
They see your rise, they just want to latch onto your coattail. They don't want clips, they want you.
I don't live in the past or the future. I live in the now.
Don't light it up unless you wanna burn it down. I am the storm, so get up, get back down. Don't light it up unless you wanna burn it down. I am the storm, so get up, get back down. And the people go,
I am the storm. I am the storm.
Yeah.
I am the storm. There you go, great.
Okay.
Gale and the Storm!
You should stick around for the show, because it's going to be fun.